Well, hi, welcome to Rocky Mountain Views. This is a very special edition. We're in Guffey, Colorado at the Rocky Mountain Wildlife Foundation today with Mark Johnson. Thank you so much for doing this out here with us today.
Well, thanks for visiting. We truly enjoy what we're doing here.
I could see that. We've been spending some time touring the facilities, meeting the wolves, and it's been joyous, as you'll see in the film ahead. But to get people started, if we could maybe give folks an abbreviated idea about how you started with your very first wolf, Cheyenne.
Well, I purchased Cheyenne about 17 years ago, and she lived to be almost 13. And she was going to be my only wolf, but one thing led to another, and before she passed, she met nearly 22,000 people, and she would not travel. People had to come see her. And I saw the way people reacted with her, and she was a very unique, very special wolf. She was involved in many physical and emotional healings, and people came for those healings. And they're still receiving healing from her today because we still have some of her ashes that we can pass out.
So you've given out, in the past you've also given out her a bit of her fur.
Right.
And then now her ashes. And how does that help to heal people?
It has the healing energy of Cheyenne. And so if somebody will send me a locket, I will fill it with Cheyenne's ashes, and then they can wear it around their neck. And if they wear it low enough where it's over their heart, then her energy will pass throughout the entire body.
Wow. Okay. Now, at the current time, how many wolves do you have here on the property?
Right now we have 6 wolves and 6 wolf dogs.
Okay.
12 animals altogether.
Now, this sounds to some people like a really lovely, romantic idea, and sounds like a lot of fun. So let's talk about what this is really like for you on a daily basis. I know you get a tremendous amount of joy from them, and I see that on you. I do. But I also know that this is a great deal of work.
Well, it's a tremendous amount of work. It's 24/7. We just can't go up and get a break. During the summer months, we do 4 tours a day, and so that's 12 hours worth of tours. I have very little time to do the construction, so I have interns come and help me with that. And we've had interns from all over the world, from New Zealand, a couple of different groups from New Zealand. We've had them from France, and then all over the United States as well. And we've had requests from others that will be here, and we work them to death. We give them a little place to stay, we give them food, and then I will bust their butts. And we live here in the Rockies, and there's a good reason why they're called the Rockies, because everywhere we need to dig a hole for a pole for a fence, there's a rock. And we do a lot of cussing and discussing when we're digging fence poles. And but emotionally, it's the most rewarding job I've ever had, and I've done a lot of very interesting things in my life, but this is the most rewarding.
I feel that from them, having walked through here and spent time with them. What's it like for you in taking care of them? Say the difference, because there's a lot of confusion, I think, on the minds of a lot of folks, and thinking that, well, that would be kind of cool to have, part wolf, part dog. I could do that. It's just like the dog, right? Let's talk about that and what that kind of care is like.
It's quite a bit different. Wolves have actually a bigger brain than a dog because they actually use their brain to survive. But one of the things that most people don't realize is a wolf is more cat-like than dog-like. You can teach them to do anything, but they'll do what they want, when they want, how they want, and they could care less what you want. So unfortunately, a lot of the animals we've gotten, people have tried to beat them into submission. And the most common instrument used against these guys is a baseball bat.
Really?
Yeah. And you met a couple down there that were beaten with bats. Their muzzles were duct taped. Their mother actually had a cigarette burn on their forehead.
And they're beautiful and they're wonderful.
Oh, yeah, very loving. Baby, we take to kindergartens, to preschools, to assisted living homes, and she kisses everybody.
So what leads to that? What is it, because their expectations, expecting them to be as a dog?
People expect them to be like a dog, where a dog wants to please you. But
Okay.
again, a wolf wants to please themselves.
Okay. And what are some of the other misnomers or myths about wolves and dogs, and the commonalities or lack of?
Okay, the probably the most common thing is people think wolves are aggressive. They're not. A wolf will run rather than fight. But if you ever got a wolf cornered, or if you try to trespass into its territory and take something from it, it's going to defend itself. And where a dog will take a German Shepherd, it has 750 pounds per square inch biting power. A wolf has 1,500 pounds of biting power.
It's immense.
So yeah, so there's a big difference there. And a wolf can run a whole lot faster than most dogs too. They can run 28 to 40 miles an hour for 20 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
So you're not going to outrun a wolf.
No. You'd be tough to outdrive them around
Yeah,
here.
yeah. A wolf is a very social animal, though, and there's actually 4 things we should learn from a wolf. First off, there's no such word as divorce in wolf language. A wolf mates for life, well, a dog will mate with anybody. And then the second, a wolf will never neglect the young or the elderly. A wolf and all of the wolves in the pack will take care of everybody in the pack. The third thing we should learn from a wolf is wolves will not breed unless there's plenty of food. So if you
Really?
can't,
I didn't know that.
yeah, if you can't feed them, don't have them. Something we should learn.
No kidding.
Now, only the alpha pair will breed. But if there happens to be an abundance of food, then the alpha pair will allow the beta pair to breed.
Okay.
So not enough food, nobody breeds. And the fourth thing we should learn from wolves is wolves won't go on TV talk shows to complain about failed relationships with other wolves.
Very nice, and they don't have reality shows.
No.
Good stuff. So, in doing this now, then 30 years then, since you started.
No, it's been about 17.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought
Yeah.
you said that. Okay, never mind. Sorry, my mistake. So you've been doing it for 17 years. What do you think that they've taught you the most?
Whoa. I guess maybe it's more love and respect, not only for animals but for humans too. And in some ways that's kind of hard for me to do because there's some humans I don't want to love or respect. But I think that's probably the major thing is love and respect.
That's terrific.
So, and like I say, emotionally, it's the most rewarding job I've ever done.
I get that. I get
So-
that being there. I feel it. What is their care like during the course of the day? Their food that they eat. And again, I want to dispel the myths of, gee, wouldn't it be cool to have a wolf dog? So if we find out the proper care, I think that will go a long way.
Well, one thing, they need a large area in which to play and roam.
Okay.
So you've got to have some acreage for them. You also need to have at least an 8-foot high fence because they can jump 7 feet, no problem. And to feed them, each animal here averages 5 pounds of meat a day. They don't eat dog food. Dog food does not grow in the wild. They will occasionally eat berries and fruits and things like that, but they're carnivores. They eat meat and they have to have it. And 5 pounds of meat may not sound like a whole lot, but if you just take cheap hamburger times 5, it's like $3 a pound, there's $15 a day just to feed them. And so a lot of people don't realize that, and then they'll go to Kmart or Walmart and pick up cheap dog food, which is the worst thing you can feed even to your dog.
Right. Let alone
Let alone a wolf.
what a wolf requires. And the type of foods that you feed here, because as I was talking to Robert, one of your wolf dogs brought over a horse leg to us.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes Sometimes we shock a few people when they come up and they see a horse head or a horse leg or a deer or part of an elk or any other animal part in the pens. And they really don't like it when they go into the puppy pen that we have, the three wolf pups, and because I always put the heads of the animals in there because Cherokee just loves the eyeballs. So
Teaches them.
yeah, and people come up and they think I'm getting ready to film The Godfather 4. So when they see these horse heads in here, so.
But things like having the bones that you do, doesn't that also help to satisfy their prey instinct?
Well, they don't really know how to hunt because they're all captive born.
Okay.
And in the wild, they wouldn't even learn to hunt until they were about 6 months. And then it would be like to about 22 months before they become master hunters. A wolf is fully mature by the time they're 22 months. But for 6 months,
Wow.
all they do is eat, sleep, and play. Something a lot of my interns do.
How about that?
Oh, we're looking at an intern over here now.
You were telling me something really interesting too about with wolves. If they're going to be socialized, you need to be there at 2 weeks. And now there's one that you have though that's you
3 weeks.
saw at 3 weeks,
Yeah.
but a very different relationship with that 1 week time.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
I
If
found it fascinating.
a lot of people will go on the web and they'll find we can buy this wolf dog.
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't realize is a lot of these people that have these wolf dogs will pull them at any time. If you do not pull them from the mother within 2 weeks, when those animals open their eyes at 2 weeks, they can't focus until about the third. But what they need to do, the first thing they see needs to be you. If it's not you, they're going to bond with wolves. Now, we've pulled those 3, Apache, Cherokee, and Lakota, at 13 days from the mother. We pulled Spirit from the mother at 3 weeks. Apache, Lakota, and Cherokee, as you saw, all they want to do is kiss you.
Yes.
But Spirit, with new people, all she wants to do is hide. She wants nothing to do with you. And so that's another big thing that they have to watch out for if they're going to buy a wolf dog. And yes, it is legal in most areas to own a wolf dog. But some counties, even though the state might say it's okay, some counties will say no. Some cities will say no. So you've got to know what your ordinances are if you're going to have one. And if you're going to have one, you need 2.
Why is that?
Because they're social animals.
Okay.
They're pack animals. And you cannot be there 24/7. As much as you might want to be,
Right.
you need to take a break now and then. Even I need to take a break from these guys. But I'm fortunate in that I have quite a few volunteers that come up. And with my fiancée, she goes in and she can interact with them when I can't. So they get the social interaction throughout the entire year this way. There's always somebody else here. And you
But
just
they
can't...
that they have you that they imprinted upon.
Right, right.
Okay.
And they love us.
Yes, I
Right.
see that.
Yeah.
That's so apparent.
Yeah.
But it also makes me think of if someone is going to do that, and even if they have other family members that will be part of that group, that
Right.
clan, that's still a lifetime
Commitment.
to that wolf dog
Right. And
because they're not going to transfer to another family.
right, they don't want to go to another family, and where the biggest problems come in is when the animal is not socialized with others. Now, we socialize ours. And if an animal's not socialized, even though they may have bonded with you,
Right.
they're not going to necessarily bond with anybody else. So you might have a guest come in your house, that animal's going to panic and attack. And most of these attacks usually occur between 2 and 3 years of age. That's when you're going to have the most trouble, because that's when that animal's fully mature.
Okay.
And the natural instincts will kick in. The other thing that you've got to watch out for, wolves are extremely curious animals. So if you happen to have one and you have to go shopping for a while, and you leave him in the living room and shut the doors behind, he may jump up on the sofa. and he may hear a squeaky spring. Well, when you come home,
Don't have a squeaky spring anymore,
you don't
do
have
ya?
a squeaky spring. You don't have a couch anymore. Everything's going to be everywhere throughout.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen photos of where somebody had left their wolf dog or wolf in their home, and they've gone out to do something, and they've come back, and that animal has actually chewed a hole through the roof to get out, or through the wall to get out.
Wow.
Remember, they've got 42 teeth and 1,500 pounds per square inch crushing power, so they have the power to tear up anything. And if they figure that they've got to get out, they'll get out. The other thing is they're major, major diggers. And all of our fencing all along has perimeter wire buried,
Oh, sure.
going back
That makes sense.
inside. So if they go to the fence to start to dig out, they hit that wire and they can't get out. So you've got to bury wire, you've got to have 8 foot up, many times you have to have angle backs so that they can't climb out. They can jump 7 feet, they can climb, put them in a corner and they'll climb. I've seen a video of one wolf where the owner couldn't figure out how that wolf kept getting out. But there was a tree not too far from the fence.
Oh,
And what
for
that wolf
heaven's
would
sake.
do is it put its back to the fence and climb up the tree and then flip over the fence to get out. And then it would
That's
just sit there and
brilliant.
wait till the owner got home. They were lucky it did that, because most
Yeah,
of them
that
would
it
just run
stayed.
off. Yeah. And you've got to remember, instinct says chase something that's moving.
Okay.
So if your wolf dog happens to get out of its enclosure, it might see another dog and it will go chase it and kill it. Or it might see a cat, or it might see a deer,
Or a child.
or a child. And if a child is crying, that sounds like a wounded animal.
Oh, yes, it would.
So you've got problems. Don't even think of getting a wolf dog if you have a young child.
That's great advice. How about for people who have done this and need help? Where, obviously, they all can't come here. What are the resources available for people?
Unfortunately, if they take their animal to any place other than a sanctuary, like to the Humane Society, or if the police happen to confiscate an animal that's a wolf dog, they cannot adopt them out. They can't take that legal responsibility, so they're euthanized. The majority of the animals, when they reach 2 to 3 years of age, they're euthanized.
Because they are not suited for domesticated life.
Right,
Because
Right.
they are not a domesticated animal.
right.
Okay. So we need to not do that, people.
Yeah.
We need to talk to others and become educated. And this is what a lot of what you do here.
Right. We try to educate people about them. We allow people interaction with them, so that way they can really see what wolves are like, but they get kind of a false sense of security when they come here because we've socialized our animals.
Mm-hmm.
And my animals, they're upset if they don't get to meet you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you saw all the kisses you got.
Right.
Yeah. You got your tonsils washed, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a thorough bath.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
French kissed by a wolf. And now that you have been kissed by a 4-legged wolf, how's it compare to a 2-legged?
Well, I think I said to you, because someone asked me that, and I said, well, the 2-legged has a lot more finesse,
Yeah.
but the 4-legged has more reach.
Yes.
But they're extremely social here. They're
Right.
wonderful, and they wanted their chance. They were 2 of them were pushing each other out of the way between Thor and Lady.
Yeah.
They were pushing each other out of the way. No, let me see her. No, let me
Yeah.
see her. But of course, very gentle, and that's not. Typically, these animals have been brought into a completely different situation. They've been brought into a place where someone has great intentions and has no clue what to do.
Right.
So they are not going to have these animals at least behaving the way that these
Right.
guys do. They're going to have frustrated animals that are not being cared for properly. They don't understand that they're not going to respond like their dog,
Right.
like my golden retriever. I can't even control my golden retriever, people. So there's no way I could do this, and I've been around animals my whole life. So this is not what they would get.
No, not
Okay.
at all.
I guess if you wanted to see what's going to happen, they need to go to a humane society and take a look at something if they could.
Well,
but I mean,
they wouldn't see them long, because as soon as a humane society gets a wolf dog,
they put him down.
They have to put them down because they can't adopt them out.
Okay.
And now you saw a couple of the animals down below that are not socialized.
Right.
So that's the advantage you have of coming here. You can see animals that are socialized, and you can see animals that are not, that want nothing to do with people. And the ones that want nothing to do with people, that is true wolf behavior.
Right.
We are their number one enemy. Bears and mountain lions are next. But
we
yet a bear and a wolf will fish side by side in Alaska for salmon.
That's because the bear doesn't have a gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone does want to have theirs survive, what do they do? How do they contact a sanctuary?
Well,
What's the
unfortunately,
advice?
I don't know of a single sanctuary right now that can take another animal. We're all packed. We're all full. We're getting ready to build more enclosures, but to build these enclosures, it's going to cost me about $20,000.
So we need to do some fundraising, right?
We need to do some fundraising for that, and that's just material, because nobody here gets paid. We're all volunteers. And
how do people make a donation to you? How do we find out about you? How do people come and contact you for tours? Let's talk about that.
The easiest way is to go on our website, which is www.rmwf.org.
Okay.
There's a donate page on there, and you can get all kinds of information. We have about 100 pages on the web now, and we're expanding. There's lots of photos. If you're a photographer, you can come here and take all the photos you want, and you can do whatever you want with your photos. I know there's several other places that don't allow it unless you pay them big money. It's free to come see us. You're going to spend about 2 hours total time for your tour. Again, you can take all the photos you want. You get to interact with the animals, and you're going to learn about these animals, and let us have the animals, and you come and visit, and we'll take care of them for
and
you.
everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. The wolves live and survive in a natural setting, and they're not injured and abused like so many of them are.
I love that. Now, if people want some really cool clothes and stuff too, they can also get those on your site, yes?
We do have some t-shirts, and we're going to be getting some hats in too.
Excellent.
And we do have pins, and we actually have artwork that we're starting to sell. We're going to sell wildlife and Native American art, and we go to a lot of schools, churches, prisons, juvenile centers, things like that. One of the prisons that we went to was a maximum security prison, and we have a couple of the inmates that have actually sent us artwork to sell on our website.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and we got a lot of thank you letters from those men that we affected them with our animals. We took Apache and Cherokee down there, and they kissed 150 guys that day. They
And
loved
touch them in a way that other people could not.
And the one gentleman, he wrote me and said, I never thought I was going to get to say this, but I've been paroled, and since then he's been sending me artwork, and we've been starting to sell his artwork for him.
Super.
So he makes money and we make a little money.
Well, we're going to have all the information up on our site. We encourage you to write it down from us, go to their website, and come visit this magical place. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Really
very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thanks for coming.
Our pleasure. Hi, this is Martha Thompson with Rocky Mountain Views. We're here at the Rocky Mountain Wildlife Foundation, and I'm with Robert Soaringhawk, and talking about what he knows about wolves, his experience as a volunteer and friend of the foundation, and also as a Native American. So how did you get involved with this?
Let's see, Mark and I met at a Western Heritage Festival in Canyon City.
Okay.
And the three main pups were just little then, like 6 months old.
Wow.
We got to talking, came up about a week later, and just kind of fell in love with everybody up there. which is easy to do.
Yeah, it is very easy. So did you know Cheyenne?
No, met him I think the year that she died. So didn't get a chance to meet her. Been involved with the little ones up there since they were little. So, and then we started talking, and he does a lot of school presentations and whatnot. And he used to have a native friend that used to help him, and he had to kind of bow out. So he asked me if I'd help him, and I did. And we've been having a fun time. We've done all sorts of different kind of festivals, and mainly schools though, elementary, middle school, high school.
And so what's that like for kids?
Oh man, they love it. They ask more good questions than adults do.
Yeah,
They
isn't that
do.
the truth?
And their questions are honest, and they're always interested in getting to pet the wolves or just anything about them.
Yeah.
They have questions upon questions, don't they? And this is Lady.
This is Lady.
And when we go, I usually would go in my full dance clothes and answer questions about that. And I would, if they have any questions about what the wolf would mean to certain tribes, I would try to answer those questions. And because of the Lakota and the Cherokee and the Choctaw, we all have different types of beliefs in what the wolf means. And
So what does it mean for Lakota?
well, there's a lot of the wolf in the creation myths. It was Wope who asked the wolf to lead the first men out of the cave. So the first men that came to Earth were taught how to hunt and how to prepare the hides and what they could eat and everything by a wolf. But that was a long time ago when we could still talk with animals. Since then, a lot of people have lost that ability. We have stories of women who abused women in relationships that would go live with wolves for several years and become wild like them.